Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us here with Nir Esterman. Nir is the developer of shadow constellations. He has been teaching embodied shadow work over the last decade, with the last 8 years teaching shadow constellations, this joining together of the technology of constellation work and with the framework of Jungian shadow work. And I was really excited to work with Neo as he's coming here to Boulder shortly. Um, it seems so obvious that so much of what's happening in our world right now is the playing out of the shadows of what has been unacknowledged and unintegrated. And it seems like we have maybe like a front row seat to see how this has been playing out on the global stage. And for me, that means that this kind of work and what Neil brings is more important than ever. Um, in the last few months, Neil has been teaching in India and Vietnam, and this is his first time teaching in the United States. He's currently in Sedona, Arizona, and tomorrow begins a 2-day Shadow Constellations workshop there. And then at the end of this month, May 29th to June 2nd, the first Shadow Constellation full training is happening here in Boulder, Colorado. And we'll give some more information about these at the end. And thank you all for being here. Yeah, this topic seemed important and timely, and appreciate all of you joining. And with that, I'll hand it to Neil.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you, everybody, for coming here today. First, to let you know that it is a recorded workshop, but the recording is done on Adam's side with my screen on a pin mode, so that only I will be seen. If you would be sharing anything by audio, it will be recorded. And if you just write things that you would like to share, then your privacy will be complete. Um, Yeah, I'm very excited to meet you all wherever you are in the world. I know that there have been people interested in this topic, naturally considering the times, from really lots of places, and many more are asleep now, but would like to watch when they wake up. So hello to you as well. And to those that we haven't met before, hi, nice to meet you. I'm Nir Esterman. I'm a family constellations teacher, embodied shadow work teacher, and a developer of shadow constellations. I've been working with people for over 20 years with deep modalities, be it body work and shadow constellation, all the rest. And before we go into the topics of today, I would like to just lay a few ground rules for our safety. So the safety rules, they are as follow. Please feel comfortable. If you need to move or change your position physically, sit, lie down, stand up, go to the toilet, come back, stretch, all good. We're not in any kind of class that you cannot move. Um, Also, if you need to take a break for whatever reason, if you're overwhelmed or for any other reason, that's okay. And I'll be happy for you to stay and to take a representation for support or more if you need to. But you don't have to stay just because you started, okay? Your sense of well-being is first. I will be saying some things naturally as the teacher in this workshop. They were not given to me by God. They are my understanding of things and how we can improve our situation in life. If they resonate with you, feel free to take them in. If they do not resonate with you, feel free to just leave them here. That's okay. And if you feel like a question about something that you don't understand or don't find correct will be useful, you can ask a question. We will have some time during the workshop today for questions and sharing. So see if you can wait with it. And if you can't, then ask and I'll see if I am able to answer at that time or later. Um, Please feel comfortable to do only what you feel like doing or that you have a yes to in your body to do. If I suggest any movement within the constellation or whatever work that we do that doesn't feel right for you, you don't have to do it. You can do something else. You can just not do, or you can write in the chat and ask for an alternative. And if I will have one out of my head, then I will add it to the instructions. And if not, you just don't have to do anything that feels wrong to you. Okay, remember that. We don't, we, all of us at one time or another had the unpleasant experience of doing something that we didn't want because we thought it was right or that the teacher knew what they were doing. Okay, no need to repeat that. Let's learn that lesson. And privacy, you're free to share whatever I bring here today. It's a gift, originally for the people of the US, but hey, everyone is welcome. Um, whatever other people share, please keep and respect their privacy. Um, yeah, the work here today will be based on constellation work, energetic work, shadow work, and on both personal and collective and cultural tribal levels. Um, it's intuitive. You don't need to understand the theory behind it. I will be giving the instructions in as much of a plain English as I can. Um, if you're inexperienced in this kind of work, that's okay. If you're super experienced, that is also okay. Um, just take what feels right for you from this work. Yeah. As I wrote in the landing page, and I thought about it again when I was reading what all of you shared as you registered for this workshop. It's of course not a replacement for therapy or for one-on-one session, and it won't be a place for any single one person to get the tribe space to be seen personally or even as representatives of our tribes. Okay. The idea today is that each one of us together at the same time, we do some work that will help us disentangle from things that are capturing us unconsciously, mainly collective or global ones, and that we reconnect with certain resources or supports that will allow us to do that and reintegrate with some of our shadows that makes us, while being unintegrated, more vulnerable to being captured and affected to too much of a degree by global events. Um, I assume that none of you is a president of any state, which means that you're probably not the one creating whatever is going on right now. Um, uh, so we're trying to find here today a sort of a balance between being enough in touch with the individual aspect of me, my individual, very colorful thread, without having to disconnect from my collectives and my tribes. Okay? I want to be clearly me while still being a part of something bigger than me, whether or not I like it. Okay, because we don't always like the tribes that we're a part of. That's okay. That's part of the of our life's work, right? Um, but just saying, oh, I have nothing to do with it, it's them, is also not necessarily helpful. Hmm. Okay. I think that is for the preliminaries. I hope I haven't forgot anything important. Yes, one more important thing. If you notice that there is something really important being completely ignored by me, or that something is going awfully wrong here in our space and I'm not noticing that, feel free to raise your hand and say something about it or write to me in the chat is even better because there were lots of people here today, almost 30 live. Um, and because I'm a human being too, and I have my own shadows naturally, and I can miss things which are important. Okay, so I'm doing my best to keep the space safe, and Adam and Kirsten Suarez are here also to support that. But let's make it a group a group choice to keep us safe. Okay, thank you. Let us begin. Uh, this workshop did not was not born now. It was born in stages. First, because I'm a second generation to the Holocaust. Both of my parents were children in the Holocaust. So so while they were not in the camps, but my father lost his entire family. My mother was born inside the Warsaw Ghetto and was separated from my parents for a long time. Um, I kind of grew up with collective influences, um, liking it or not. And I thought it was okay. And then in the last few years, I think it began, well, I think it began the first time I came to Poland as a conscious person to visit my family there, and I realized that the collective things that happened during the Holocaust were very alive for me, and they're not something that happened in the past. And it continued in the pandemic, and I'm not getting into what it means, but just the fact that we were all affected, and we were affected in different ways. Yeah, and the same big waves were trying to affect us. For some people, it was a beginning of some awakening journey. For some other people, it was just something to push through. Some people just waited for the wave to pass. All good, fight, flight, freeze, yeah. Um, but what I noticed already then was that a lot of my own personal response and that of other people around me, clients, friends, family, um, well, they reacted like people in their family reacted in the previous time that there was a global threat or what was perceived as a global threat. For some people, and in my case, it was the Holocaust. For some other people, it was witch hunt, and for some other people, it was a thing that happened when the Spanish flu or the plague or something that no one knows about but happened 500 years ago happened. And so in our systems, there were things, um, there are like instructions written in our family systems blueprint or imprint, telling us how we should survive through really challenging times that affect not just us but everyone, and sometimes in really strange ways. Okay, um, so there was that, um, and in case it's not known, I'm Israeli, Jewish Israeli. And so when the current war began with the 7th October, I was facing horrible ways of collective anguish, rage. I found myself in different times of the day feeling and wanting things for other people that I never wanted before. And I realized that I'm being carried away by the collective response, by the collective pain, by the collective shock, by the collective rage. And I had to really 12 times a day disentangle myself and, well, wait a minute, this is not my thoughts. I don't want all of them dead. Like maybe someone do want that right now, but I don't want that personally as Nir. Um, and I have students and clients from different places in the world. Some of them happen to be Muslim, and we found ourselves trying to interact and being captured into um, reliving between us the conflict. I was like, wait a minute. We know each other for some years. This is not us. What's going on? So again, something bigger was constantly trying to capture us. And at least in some cases, we managed to identify it, acknowledge it, and do something different to maintain personal relationships despite the fight between tribes. I'm trying really hard not to go into politics, okay? Thank you. Um, okay. And of course, there are other places where what I will be taking us through today came from, but these were like the big ones. I wanted you to have a sort of basic background. Are you ready to work, or is there something that needs to be shared before that? There is anything that you need me to say or relate to before we start the work? Now is the time. Doesn't have to be, okay? I'm just checking. Thank you, Ria, for letting us know. Angie. Okay. If you can have a camera on, that's great. If you can't have, that's also great. That's life. Okay. Let us first take a moment just to sense our body in a simple way. Don't go into any experience. Okay? Don't look for anything. Just take a moment to notice the simple fact that we have a body. We have weight. And we have some weight, even a lot or little, but there is some weight. We are sitting on something, most probably. There is a physical sense to how we meet the chair or the sofa or whatever it is that we're sitting on. And we can take a moment to look around in our room and see if there's anything that reminds us of something positive or safe or simple that we can go back to if we feel overwhelmed. Just look at it. Oh, okay, I know this object in my room, okay. Oh, I'm in my room, okay, that's nice. Safe again. You can sense how our feet are meeting whatever surface we have our feet on. It helps the grounding a little bit. So we're in difficult times in different ways that affect us differently depending on where we are in the world and what tribes we belong to. What I invite us now is to take a moment to choose one, let us call it situation, one state of things which you feel that is really getting to you. You don't need to share it, that's okay. Maybe it's something like global warming or Trump, or maybe it's something like a war, or maybe it's just something like worrying about the economic situation of your family, which is a part of a bigger economic wave. Yeah. Just notice what is the thing that you feel that is taking a lot of your energy because it's not right, or it's threatening or unsafe in some way. Perhaps it feels like you need to do something about it, but you can't, or not enough. Don't go too near this situation thing, okay? Just notice that it exists and that you have some sort of a name for it. The situation is also a name for it, okay? If you know what it means, it's good enough. Now, please take one of the objects that I asked you to prepare in advance as presentations, and place two representations. One is for yourself, and the second one is for the situation, whatever it is for you. And it can be a simple one or a complex one, doesn't matter. And you place these two objects intuitively in relation to each other. You can do it on your table, you can do it on the floor if you prefer to do it standing. Since we're in Zoom, I will give the instructions as if we're doing it on the table. You can take a moment to just look at them. What is the distance? Do they look at each other, away from each other, some other direction? Just getting a first impression of the relationship. And then please step on your representation, meaning you put your hand on it and you allow yourself to embody something of your essence, of who you are, of your soul in this body. It's easy in this case because it's you, but you will be doing it on other representations as well. And as you do that, just take a few moments to quiet notice. Notice your body, your embodiment, your breathing, your posture. Does it feel like you're heavier or lighter? Or if something is trying to push or to pull you in any direction? What does your body wants to do in the presence of the situation? Is there a contraction or constriction? Is there a release? Notice your emotions. Are they strong or weak? How emotionally connected are you? Notice your thoughts. Where are they going to? Are they focused? Are they moving in different directions? Is there any sound which catches your attention? External or maybe inner voice, music, memory of the sound, silence. Notice what you see in your mind's eye, any images or scenes that run in front of your eyes. Maybe from now, maybe from some other time. Notice if any memories come up, yours, not yours. And notice how you feel about the situation. When you're in your representation and you look towards the situation representation, how do you feel? What size is it in relation to your size? How much power does it have? What does it do? What does it want from you? Please step off. Take a breath, shake your hand, and then a third representation. This representation is for your reaction to the situation. Place it intuitively where it feels right. And then you can step on it, taking a moment to notice your body and emotions and thoughts and mind's eyes and ears and memories and relationships between representations. Just take a moment to notice your response. Maybe you know it. Maybe you didn't know that you were responding in that way. Both are fine. How do you organize yourself towards the situation as the response? Perhaps there is some form of fight, flight, freeze, collapse. Maybe there is something else, more nuanced, more personal. Just notice. Now step off, please. Take a breath, shake your hand. Go back to your representation. If anything wants to move or to change in the representations, let them. And notice, has anything changed in you and in regard to the situation representation? Doesn't have to change, but maybe something changed. If yes, just notice that. Step off, take a breath, shake your hand. The next representation that we will add is a representation for the previous situation or the source situation. I'm referring to some situation in the past. Could be your personal past, but I would suggest that you look for a more collective past. When this is the time where your response to things like that, situations like that, was created. Maybe you have an idea about when it was and what it is. Maybe you don't have. That's okay. Let's place a representation for the original situation, if you like. Situation that's made maybe you and probably one of your ancestors or your tribe, it's probably more precise, to adopt a certain response years, centuries, millennia ago, and then step on it, opening yourself a little bit more energetically so that whatever information is in the field about this original situation can come to you. Maybe visually, maybe in sounds, maybe as a memory or as a thought, maybe through a more physical felt sense, some other way. Just notice what was the previous first big situation that your current response is actually based on. Allow any kind of information of what happened there, that it's okay for you to receive. Allow yourself to receive it. Take a breath, please. Step off. Shake your hand. Take another breath. It was probably not a nice situation, yeah? Make sure you're out of this representation. And now the next representation that we will add is for the people from your tribe, whatever that tribe is, who were there. The people who were the first to adopt this response that you have today. Maybe one person, a specific ancestor, it could be a part, certain family, the women of the tribe, or some other options. And step on it. Just notice how they experienced it from their perspective. Just for a moment. Don't try to heal them. Just notice that this is what they went through and this is how they responded. And step off and add a representation for their response. You can take a moment to step on the representation of their response, just so that you will get a first-hand experience of it. And we take a breath and we step off and we shake our hand. And we notice if there is any movement between the representations, and if any representation wants to change their position, their distance, their angle. Maybe the objects themselves feels like they need to be changed. Allow that. Now go back to your representation. Notice if anything has changed for you. Do you feel the same about a situation? How do you feel your response to be now? You can step off and step on the representation of your response to the situation. Is there any difference in your response now? Doesn't have to be. Okay, we're trying. If there is, notice that. And step off. You can now step on the representation of the current situation. As you do that, notice that there is this representation, and in our field there is a representation for the original situation. Keep that in your awareness. Notice how you feel now in the representation of the current situation. I know that we didn't step on it before, but notice how is it now? And does it feel like something changed about it for you? And step off. Notice if anything wants to move or to change. And go back to your representation. How is it now? Step off your representation. The next representation that we will add is for what gave our ancestors who survived hardships the power to do so. Okay. The next representation is for what supported, what gave power to our ancestors who survived despite war and famine and death and wars and political and religious persecution and abuse of all kinds. What gave them the power, the strength to survive? Let's place this representation and step on it. It could be many things. I would like now to ask you to write in the chat in just a few words, what was it that helped your ancestors to survive so that we can learn and we can connect to what helped each of our ancestors to survive. But there's each other, you're not alone. Laughter, yeah. Success, in some cases, it's also a response. Hope for a better future. God, community, moving, partner. Connection with the natural world, yes. The power of the heart of love. Deep inner knowing they're worthy, important. Adherence to truth, determination, faith, nature connection, remembrance. Strange, but my head tilted backwards a bit. Interesting. They had one another and they knew they belonged to each other. They saw they belonged and they found joy in the little moments and the biggest of all, their faith. Mhm. The love between them, invisibility, yeah, inner wisdom, connection, perspective, mindset, sacred sandalwood, ancient wisdom, and deep inner connection. Divine rays showing through the clouds, patience and hope, and knowing that it's not forever. Just notice what happens to you as you listen, as you hear all of this. Deeply caring, faith in the good of life, kindness, can add connection to a land. Hmm. Notice if any of these touch you, and if they do, you can add representations for them in your constellation, as many as you like. So if you see what gave power to other people, ancestors, and it touches you, add a representation for it in your constellation. Remembering who they are, magic, medicine, love. Yeah. So much power, so much strength, so much support. Notice if anything wishes to move or to change after you've added these. We're helping each other to go through this together now by sharing. And now go back to your representation, taking a moment to notice how you are, how you feel about the current situation, about your response to it. Has anything changed? And if something has changed, take a moment to allow your nervous system to notice the change, to accept it. Something feels different. And when you feel ready, you can step off, shake your hand, take a breath, and finish this first process of today. Take a moment to come back to the body, to the chair or mattress, sofa, to our breathing in the here and now. To making sure that this process is coming to an end, that you're not wide open. How are you now? We have time for 2, 3 audio sharings and as many as you like in the chat. What was your experience in this process? If you like to speak, you can just unmute yourself and talk.
Um, Sorry.
Yes, please.
I'm using two devices. So I noticed that all the things that represented fear and cure to the fear moved back.
Mm-hmm.
And what came to the front slowly is, first of all, the core of who I am, just
Mm-hmm.
simple and nature. And then I couldn't find my childhood dress. Believe it or not, I have it over here. I couldn't find it, and I got kind of like a little bit panicked. So I put something else, colorful. But then all the ancestries, the thing that I think my ancestors used to not only to be alive, but to live life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Came next to it, and all of the other our community now, their solutions, came next to it. And the last object is kind of like a pain. I have a pain in my shoulder, so I put those sticky pad,
Mm-hmm.
against pain. And that was also represented before the silence that I felt was around me, around fear, especially around fear of death. So that was pushed back, because the last thing I want to do is suppress my fear, and I don't like it for others as well. I just don't think it's very beneficial. And the last one is like like dry flower, which I began with this like nice representation of nature and calmness. Yeah, just my first time to experience that kind of process, and just amazing. Yeah, thank you so much.
Very glad. Thank you. Yeah, I will not show it to you, but it so happens that my computer is resting on two books about death. One is called Cafe Death, and the other is Dying to Be Me. Um, so reading here, I feel safe and protected, and I experienced at the close a deep gratitude and love for my ancestors and faith in what unites and keep us heart centered and holding the power of love in the most terrible of situations. Thank you.
And if I may add, Nir, if
Please.
I may, to that,
Mm-hmm.
amongst my ancestors, there were those who did not hold love, and there were those who did. And so there was it wasn't like everybody did. Some identified with the situation, but I connected with those that still managed to hold love, even if they had to guard their hearts, which is how my representation started. My representation started actually with a heart stone, but then on it was my reaction. And it was like protecting the heart, but it was pointed. It was like attacking what I felt perceived the threat to be. Yeah.
And how
So,
is it now?
it's
And
good now.
how is it now?
No, it's good because I feel kind of protected and secure in the connection I have with the love that carried my ancestors through. And that's more, it's bigger than the situation. I actually experience it as bigger than the situation that I perceived as threatening, because that's what endures and it feels good. And I feel very, I just felt this, incredible gratitude for that. Yeah.
Glad to hear.
Very, very
Thank you.
expansive. Yeah. Not so afraid of the situation anymore.
There's another one at the end. A hand reached out to me and brought me out of the tiny space I was hiding in. I felt safe to come out in a group bigger and ready to stop hiding. Good. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. Let's take a moment just to not do anything new. Just let what we now did settle down a little bit. Yeah. Uh, you can close your eyes or you can stare at some point if you prefer, or just get a sip of water, or all three. Let us just take a moment before we move on to another perspective. If anything still wants to move or to change, we can allow it. If we need to add some support, we can add it. But mainly, just allow our nervous system um, to receive the news that something is different, that it can be safer than it felt before. We are connected to certain things that we forgot that we have them, or the ability to be in touch with them. And whatever way your body wants to process this is okay. Stillness, movement, sounds, all good. Personally, I'm a yawner when it comes to release. Okay, so let us gather ourselves back to the group space that we are in right now. Is there something that any of you feel that needs to be said before we move on or acknowledged?
I would, I'd like to say something if that's okay. I
Please.
find it's a little hard for me. I feel a little disconnect from my ancestors, and
Mm,
because of, past like racism and they came over on the Mayflower, and I know
mm,
they weren't all bad people, but I know that there was I think I'm just not so proud or connected
mm,
to my family. My grandfather, yeah, that's who I kind of focused on. My
mm,
grandparents, both sides, especially my grandfather. So I have more connection there. But how do you get past? It's like a judgment I have, a deep-rooted
mm.
judgment I have of them that I think I know who they were, and
Yeah.
so I was just wondering how you get past that.
The simplest way for me, maybe it will work for you too, is just to stick with the fact that if not them, you will not be here. Connection with our ancestors does not mean that we approve of what they did or didn't do. It doesn't require that we believe as them. But if they did not do whatever it is that they did, you would not be here. And the sad truth here is that all of us are um, predecessors, um, or the children and grandchildren and so on and so forth, of people who didn't do only good and didn't just keep faith in heart. We are children of murderers and rapists and abusers, in addition to all the good things. And if you don't acknowledge that, then we are stuck. Yeah. So we all like to think of ourselves as like good people and then connect only with good people. But probably none of us is truly 100% good and they just right. And the same goes for our ancestors who lived in different times with different morality and different needs. Um, there are other ways to look at it, of course, and there is work to be done there. But in a way, it's like saying, okay, when I connect with my ancestors, it's not to accept what they did or not to accept what they did. It's to just acknowledge what is. These are my ancestors, even if they had a bad mouth smell or they were mass murderers. Okay, they're still my ancestors. This cannot be changed. I mean, without going into metaphysics. So let's say this cannot be changed. Okay, these are my ancestors. And I have a simple choice. I can accept reality or I can fight it. One way leads to peace and the other to lack of peace. It doesn't mean that you have to love what they did or to say, ah, must be good because they did it. It's in the same way that when I'm acknowledging that I have a body, I don't have to go into the pains of my body and the limitations of my body and then in the pleasant experience of my body. I'm just saying, hey, I have a body. That's it. It's here. You have a grandmother or a father. They're here or we're here. Yeah. They're a part of the the infrastructure on which you stand and from which you receive life energy. You wanna have less of that, you will have less life energy. Simple. I hope that is useful.
It is. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. So let us move to a different aspect of how to help us um, thrive, or at least be more separate and distinct for some of the collective forces. Please release the first constellation. You can either reuse the same representations or bring on new ones, your choice. We begin with the representations. One is for ourselves, and one is for our soul, or a personal aspect of the soul. My soul, yeah, my individual soul. And we step on our representation, taking a couple of moments to notice how we are, what we need. How is our connection with the representation of our individual soul? Soul, S-O-U-L. Do we feel connected with it? Partially, not so much, not at all. If there is a connection, does it feel simple or complex? Does it feel like we're close, we're like holding the same space, or is there some distance? Does it feel like something pulls at our soul, at our individual soul, or pushes it? We step off from our representation, shake of the hand, the breath, and we step on the representation of our individual soul. How is our individual soul? How much color does it have right now? How much life? Does it feel more whole? Does it feel like it has holes? Does it feel in place or a bit lost or a lot lost? How do we feel towards our own representation in this representation? And we step off. Breath a shake. The next representation is for the pain that we are experiencing in these times. And I'm saying pain in the loose form. It can be something else than actual pain. But the thing that is really hard for us to carry, to be in touch with, to accept its presence, to be present with it. For some people, it's real pain or suffering. For others, it's deceit, untruthfulness. For others, it's the fear or the aloneness. Whatever it is, step on this representation so that you will have a sense, first person sense. What is your big pain in these times? And notice the distance between this representation and yours and your own individual soul. Is there like a healthy distance? Too much of a distance, you're not really in touch with it. Too little of a distance, you can't help but being touched by it. Don't overdo it if it feels like you're starting to get disconnected or dissociated. Step off. Take a breath, shake your hand. Anyway, step off, take a breath, shake your head. The next representation we will add is for the collective soul. It could be the soul of your tribe, your people, be it the black people or Jewish people or women or engineers from the Silicon Valley, whatever it is that you really deeply feel that these are my people. Yeah. Put a representation for the soul of your people that are suffering from this thing. So there is your individual soul and there is the soul of your people that you're connected with, you're a part of, but it's not everything that you are. Notice if anything wants to move or to change. And please step on the representation of your own individual soul. Notice if something has changed in this representation from the previous time that you were representing it. What has changed? Is it more at ease or with more difficulty? How it is affected by the presence of the soul of your people? How does it feel in your body? Step off, please. Shake your hand, take a deep breath. And step on the representation of the soul of your people. It may feel big, that's okay. It's a big soul. Keep breathing. Notice how it feels in this representation. What is coming to you? What is alive for you? How do you feel from this representation towards your individual soul representation and towards the pain that you're dealing with? How is your belly? How is your heart in this representation? Without stepping off, add the representation for the pain of the soul of your people. the collective pain, the tribal pain, next to it. You don't have to step on this representation. Just notice what happens to the soul of your people when their pain is acknowledged, is seen, has a place. Keep breathing. Allow a clear sense of the soul of the people to be understood by your system in the way that it is when its pain is being represented, so acknowledged and seen. Notice if something has changed in the sense of the boundaries of this representation as you added the representation for their pain, for your people, soul pain. Now step off, please. Take a breath. Shake both hands. At any time that you feel it's a bit exhausting or too much, you can always add a representation to support yourself in the process, as many as you like. Don't wait for me to tell you. And go back to the representation of your individual soul. Notice how is it now? Has something changed? Notice the relationship with the soul of your people. Has it changed? How do you feel the connection and the boundaries between the individual soul and the soul of your people? Does it feel like it's clear and simple, connected but not overwhelming? Or does it feel like it's not so clear, disconnected and overwhelming? In the latter case, please add one, two, or more representations supporting the boundary between your individual soul and the soul of your people to become a healthy one, a regulated one, a connection that allows you to be in touch without being sucked into. You can add as many representations supporting this as it feels intuitively right for you. Keep adding representations supporting this process until you have a sense of, I can breathe now in the presence of the soul of my people. No matter how many it takes, be liberal with supports. It's trauma work after all. Maybe some supports are needed by the soul of your people as well. If anything wants to move, allow it. Or to change, allow it now. Allow things to find their place. And when it feels like something has settled, maybe all of it, maybe part of it, but something feels more settled, then it's time to take a break from it and go back to your own representation. How is it now in your representation? How do you feel the presence of your pain? Is it as big as before, or is there something different about it? How do you feel with your individual soul? With the soul of your people and the pain of the soul of your people? Anything still wishes to move or to change, allow it. And if not, we can finish this second process. Again, taking a slow moment to breathe, to shake, to come back to our body in the here and now. Maybe stretch or shake. Mm. Feel our legs or feet, the floor, no sense of weight. It's easy to get lost in when we get to the soul of our people level, to lose a bit of ourselves. Let's come back here. How are you? How was it? You can share by speaking or in the chat. Mm. Thank you, Gillian. See you tomorrow. Mm. Experienced an expanded perspective. Yeah.
Um, the most interesting move to me, I mean, it was interesting, but the one that strikes me right now is near the end, uh, my soul was able to look back at
Mm.
the pain and the tribal, the tribe soul and the pain of that. But um, it wanted to look around the pain to see the tribe.
Mm.
So there was this, yeah, it was really quite physical sense when I felt that of, okay, so the pain's there, I can see it, but I want to look around it, not through it, but around it to see them. So that was interesting to me.
Yes. Thank you. In such a case, I would add a representation for a new connection to the soul of your people that is not only through pain, and see how that works. Thank you. Let's see. A piece flew away from the balcony 3 stories down. Hmm. I wonder what that means. But I hope it carried some pain that could go down. Compassion, presence. Felt a strong resistance to feeling deeply. I felt I need to escape, not sit with overwhelming pain. My body said no, so I just listened and tried to stay connected, even though it's painful. Would you be open to sharing a little bit about what helped you personally to survive the emotional pain of October 7? I found myself feeling more numb, and it was difficult to feel my emotions. For most of us, it seemed it was way too big, traumatic to process. So a part of what helped me was what we did right now. Um, Another part that helped me was to realize that it's not a one thing. It was a series of processes. This was one of them. I received a couple of somatic experiencing sessions from Dr. Ingrid St. Just, and it really helped to process some of the trauma. Um, I sat down in nature. I was then in Greece, in Crete. I sat down in nature with mountains and tree spirits and asked for healing. And it took time. That's the short answer. Access the body feelings and felt the feelings under it. Also understood that the personal soul was projecting to collective soul. Mm. We live in, most of us at least live in cultures which either ignores the collective soul or say that we should be one with the collective soul. Or both at the same time somehow. Being able to see that there is a relationship between the two, that we have an individual aspect of our soul and we have a collective aspect. We can start looking at the relationship and how it can have the right bandwidth for us. It was one more thing on the 7th October, by the way, to sort of energetically install pipelines that you could regulate how big the flow was through when you were connecting to the collective pain. Otherwise, it would crush you under. Mm. I found my fears around my physical pain got pushed aside because my soul and my tribe soul are completely beautiful and okay. My physical isn't as important. Well, your physical is also important, yeah? But when we are in touch with beyond the physical, it sometimes helps us with the physical. And very often the physical pain um, is what we experience because something is not positioned right in the higher levels. The more we progress with the process, the more the soul of me and my tribe grew bigger and bigger. It's also pretty big, like not limited by this physicality, by time and space. And when our individual soul and collective soul are well in touch, they nurture each other instead of fighting for resources. I experienced they really chose and wanted this life, and the collective soul really wanted me to be a part. And so much past lives and past resources available to us, and the cracks will always be there, but that's special too. Oh, and my soul and my representations kept moving around each other. It's a dance, eh? It's a dance. Thank you. Glad to hear. I was able to be with the collective pain for the first time. It was always too much before that. I'm really glad to hear. In my experience, being able to be in touch with the collective pain allows us to be in touch with the collective. That's one. And without losing ourselves. And also allows us to help people without losing ourselves. I'm not sure how to explain it, just is what is coming to me. I felt that the nurturance once I had compassion for the pain of my tribe, almost like raising the grief as a banner. Mm. I'm not exactly sure what you meant in this. I just can sense that when a tribe is in great pain and grief, sometimes that's all we can feel until we do something about it. Like being a part of the tribe means I have to be in grief. Um, but I think it doesn't have to be that way. Notice as my soul got closer to the pain of my people, it got farther from personal pain. Hmm. Interesting. I don't have something smart to say about it. It's interesting. Okay, how about we take a 5 minutes break, toilet, get a drink, move the body a bit. I don't know if you can pause the recording, and I'll see you in exactly 5 minutes. See you soon. Let's come back. Please turn your cameras back on. Thank you. Okay. So one more, sharing what I felt was deep understanding and compassion, being nurtured, rather than being overwhelmed by the heartbreaking lineage of grief. I'm glad. Now I understand what you meant, and I'm glad. Okay. So far we went through two processes, each one working with different aspect of how to be in a better situation or better state regarding the big movements that are happening. We'll now go to the third one. This one will have to do with our shadow. So in short, the shadow is made of those aspects of ourselves that we're not in touch with, that we deny, that we repress, that we disown. Usually when we talk about the shadow, we talk about what triggers us in people, right? And why we are annoyed and judgmental and all of that. All very important and very important for relationships. And today, we will look at a somewhat different aspect of the shadow. In addition to triggering us, you could look at the shadow as creating vulnerabilities. Whenever something that belongs to us, that is a part of us, be it an emotion, a memory, um, a desire, an intention, an ability, a piece of history that is in the shadow of our family, whenever we're really not in touch and we disown something which is there, we're kind of creating or maintaining a hole, empty space, a hole in our energetic boundaries for things to come through. For those of you who work with people, every time that you you find yourself doing something you didn't plan on doing because your client somehow pulled you into that, or your partner, if you're not working with people, um, that went through your shadow. When you feel something that doesn't belong to you, and you're not realizing it doesn't belong to you, that it's because it's so much in your shadow that you don't know how your pain or your anger feels like. So you think it's yours even though it's not. The shadow has to do also with our vulnerability to be captured into dynamics. So what we'll do now is again right into the work. And let's see how to begin. Of course, one representation for ourselves. And one representation, or we can call it a role. Yeah. Like who I become when I'm being captured by the global forces. Maybe I'm becoming an activist. Maybe I'm becoming a frustrated person. Maybe the global or collective movements make me dissociated. Maybe I'm bored. Maybe I feel like I should save my people. Maybe I feel like I should kill my enemies, the enemies of my people. Maybe I want, I find myself thinking that I wish it would all end, that all humanity would just die and suffering would end. Um, Maybe I just want to Netflix from now until the end of days. I don't know, we have different kinds of reactions and roles and positions. I just gave really a few options, yeah. But the thing is that sometimes the collective forces, because they're so big, they're like capturing us into certain positions or certain roles. So one representation is for ourselves, and the second is for one of the roles that we find ourselves being pulled into, even though we don't want to. Maybe I don't want to be depressed about what's going on, but I still find myself depressed. Or I don't want to worry all the time. Or I don't want not to care, but I find myself uncaring. Yeah. So again, maybe you know what are you being captured into. Maybe you're not sure. Is it this collective? Does it come from someplace else? In any case, just place the representation for the role that you're being captured into as a result of the global events or global dynamics. And step on your representation. Taking a moment just to notice how you are. As we begin this third and last process for today. This role is something that we can be aware of or we can be unaware of. In a moment, we'll see what will come up through the representation. Then you'll know if you're aware or unaware of the role. But right now in our representation, how does it feel? And how do we feel towards the role? Do we like it or not? Does it pull at us or pushes us or something else? How is the communication pattern, the dynamic interaction between our representation and that of the role that we are being captured into, consciously or unconsciously? How is the felt sense in its presence? What happens in our body? Is it easy for us to look at the role, or does something wants to look away or to close our eyes or to forget about it? From our representation, maybe we have a sense of what is this role. Notice if there is one. Kind of asking the role, what are you? Who are you? And see what comes up for us. And whatever answer we received or didn't receive, can step off, take a breath, shake our hand, and now with our other hand, step on the representation of this role. Allowing ourselves to really be in the representation, to experience ourselves through this role. Maybe it's exactly like we thought about it from outside, maybe it's different. How does it feel? How much space do we take? What are we trying to do with our life, with our family, with the world? Maybe we want to make things more visible, maybe we want to make things less visible. Maybe it's not about visibility. Are we a simple role? One dimension role? Are we perhaps more complex? like productive depression, depression below productiveness on top of it. It's a complex role. Could be more than two layers. Just notice, what is it? What's happening here? In this role, with what are we in touch with and what we're not in touch with? And we can actually put representations for this. One representation for what we are strongly in touch with when we are in this role. And one representation for what we are strongly not in touch with when we are in this role. And could be that there's more than one thing that we are in touch or not in touch with. So add as many as you feel is right. I can step off, check your hand. Now step on the representation of what we are strongly in touch with when we are in this role. Be curious, non-judgmental, be open to whatever comes. Or exploring things which are in our shadow. It doesn't have to make sense. Maybe it does, but it doesn't have to make sense. Just notice what comes up. And you can step off, shake your hand, and move to the representation or representations of what we are not in touch with when we are being captured into this role. If there is more than one, shake your hand between them and visit them one by one. And it's not right or wrong. Maybe we won't be able to fully sense into what we're not in touch with. Yeah, that's okay. We can respect what we can be in touch with right now and what not. Just take a breath, shake the hand, and go back to our representation. How is it now? If anything changed or anything wants to move or change with the representation. Is there a difference in how we relate to the role that we're being captured into? Step off, please. A breath, a shake. The next representation we will add will be behind our representation, and it will be for something which is in our shadow, so we are not aware of, that because it's in our shadow, because we're not in touch with it, because we disown it, we get easily captured by this role. You don't need to know what it is, okay? Just place the representation. Again, could be more than one. I try to stay with the main ones. What is in my shadow? What I'm not enough in touch with that makes me vulnerable to being captured into this role. And step on it. Just noticing if it's possible to be in touch with it. Maybe it's too much right now. Maybe you can at least partially be in touch with it. Maybe we can do something with it. How does it feel in the body to step in into this representation? Remember, it can be anything in the shadow. Don't assume, just allow the information to come from the field through this representation. I cannot do that for myself. It's like a, a huge cry of grief is in the shadow. You don't have to share what is in yours. While you're staying on the representation of what is in the shadow with the second hand, we can bring in representations to support our connection or our integration with this shadow. So it's not forcing us to meet anything we're not ready to meet. Just support the option of peaceful integration with it. And again, you can bring as many as you like and place them wherever it feels intuitively right. And as you add representations for support of your integration, notice if there is any change in the shadow representation. In how much is it allowed to be present, to be seen, to breathe, to be in the light. Allow any movement. Notice if something is happening inside your body. And if it's okay for you, you don't have to, but if it's okay for you, while you stare at the shadow representation with one hand, at the same time step on your representation with the other. Allowing your body to be the meeting point of yourself and this aspect, which is in the shadow. Again, to the degree it feels right. Maybe it feels simple, maybe there is some body reaction, some release, some shaking, some yawning, some crying. Whatever comes, it's okay. If it feels too much, you don't have to do it. Notice what is possible. And when it feels enough, you can step off both for a moment. Notice if anything wants to change or to move with the representation. Then step on your representation. Looking at this shadow aspect. Noticing if you feel differently about it in some way. Is there a difference in how accessible it is, or how visible it is, or how judgmental you are about it? And if it's possible for you to tell it, you're also a part of me. You're also a part of me. You belong. Preferably in your native tongue. If it's too much, you can say, I still can't say that you're a part of me. It's also okay. Just noticing it's there is already meaningful. Now we can turn our representation to look again at the role. Yeah? Remember the role that we were easily being captured into. How does it feel now? That something wants to move or to change? How do we feel now about the role? Is there a change in how we are connected with it? With the ease of being captured into it? With our awareness of it? You can look at the role and tell it, I see you now. You're also a part of me. And just notice if there is a difference in the ease of being captured into it. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. We'll add one more representation. This representation is for a piece or a shard of our soul that got disconnected when that thing went into the shadow, the aspect that was in the shadow. Because every time we push something into the shadow, it's a small trauma. So some small or big part of our soul gets disconnected. So we get a representation for that part which got lost. Just gently, with intention, move it to our working area in steps. till it comes in touch with our representation, if that's possible, and if it feels like it's too much for it to return and it needs to stop on the way, that's also okay, but at least it's in the area. And as we do that, we can also step back with the second hand on our representation and look at this soul shard, which was lost, probably when we were very, very, very young, maybe before we were born. We can look at it and tell it, hey, you are also a part of me. You are needed here. I am incomplete without you. Please, please come back. And you're not forcing it, just inviting it. And see if it makes a difference, if it makes it easier for it to come. Maybe to touch your representation, maybe to become a part of the circle of other parts of yourself. Whatever feels right. Just invite it in, whatever in means at this moment. If it feels right, you can touch it in your representation with the same hand, if they're close enough. And allowing that peace to somehow flow back into you, if it's ready to do so. And if it needs support for doing that, you can actually support. Give it a little time. Allow any movement of the representations or any change that wants to happen. Hmm. Notice how you feel your body. As the soul shards makes its way in to the degree that it does, the full, partial. Look again at the shadow aspect. Notice if you can tell it again, you are also a part of me. In your native language, or your parents' native language, in some cases, if you speak it. Notice what happens in your body as you do that. Give it a little bit of time. Allow movement or connection through your fingers, through your body. Allow this aspect to find its rightful place inside of you. Now that the corresponding soul shard is back or on its way back, see what is possible now in the integration of this shadow. Allow your body to release in whatever way is right for you, your body. Can be a little challenging, that's okay. Let your body work. Few more moments. Just stay on your representation. Notice how you feel now. Is there anything different? Now you experience yourself, your body, your sense of wholeness. And does anything wants to move with the representations? How do you feel now about the role? Is there a difference in how easy it is to be captured by it? Hmm. When you're ready, you can step off, shake your hand, both hands, take a couple of big breaths, stretch, drink, touch your body a little bit. Lots of work with just a little time for integration here. How are you? What would you like to share? What was it?
I sorry. I feel
All
sense
good.
of richness. I feel all kind of aspect of who I am. That this role is part of who I am. I am. It's true, but getting me a little bit tired. This role, getting me a lot of tiredness. As a matter of fact, because though I started with honey, the who I am was honey over there.
Mhm.
It soon became like earplugs
Mhm.
and antidepressant,
Mhm.
and just to, I suppose, help myself and numb myself.
Mhm.
But also, I became loud when it became to stand on justice, or at least what I think is justice is right, protecting
Yeah.
myself and others, I became kind of tough. Yeah, I'm also from Israel, so
Yeah.
um, so, but that's not really. It doesn't serve me anymore. I understand my world. I accept it also. And there is a place, but I'm like, I just want to create peace and honey. It's funny, honey,
Hmm.
right? Like the land of milk and honey. Yeah. So it was interesting. I tried to see what I couldn't see, and um, in my shadow, right? Like the things that I know is that I'm tired of it, but the things that I didn't know that no, it came about is like I have this diamond ring, and I thought to myself, oh, I'm protecting my shine, my
Hmm.
rough me, who I am. I'm protecting myself, but I am like scratching it by by protecting it. I don't know if it makes sense. Even
Yeah.
I felt like, yeah, it's kind of like a little bit vicious circle. I thought to myself.
And how did it feel at the end?
At the end, I moved the honey from the beginning to the end, next to the diamond, my daughter's picture, and some perfume that I like, and some fresh water. But then I brought the honey to the middle, kind of like I can sweeten everything, even my role, with some sweetness.
Yeah.
Don't have to get rid of it. Just need to watch it. Yeah, yeah. Thank you so
Mm.
much. Very interesting.
Thank
Feeling good.
thank you. Thank you. I'm very glad to hear. Yes, it's not that we need to go destroy or make our walls disappear. We just need to make them flexible again. Something that we can choose the how and how much and when, rather than find ourselves just in them without any control. So, sharing, thank you for this opportunity and gift to reclaim part of myself that dissociated before I was born. Mhm. Yeah, it's not something we talk about often, but there's a lot of parts that get disconnected even before we're born, and some of them lay the foundations for the more classical shadow, more psychological classical shadow, where it begins often before birth. Sometimes before there is enough of a brain to understand what's going on, but on the soul level already something happens. Mm. Yes, please.
I'll share. I don't know if there was somebody else who was going to. Thank
It's
you.
okay.
I've really
Thank
found this really beautiful. So I'll just say really fast that I had I was pretty self-destructive youth and very self-destructive youth with violence and everything. And I like to think of myself as coming so far, and I have, I mean, a spiritual person and all of that, but my go-to still is anger. I mean, I can like it's my immediate, and when everyone's an idiot that day, I know it's going to be a little hard for me, and I have to really check in with myself about it. But I also realize that it's self-destructive to go there, when I have a genetic condition and chronic pain, and I feel like I've discovered that I'm still doing some of that self-destruction just in a different way. And and it felt really good at the end. I just put this heart over the things that were my shadows, and just, I just found it to be really a beautiful exercise. So thank you before I start getting emotional. Thank you.
Emotions are welcome, but thank you. Yes, please. Karen.
Thank you very much. I really enjoyed this process a lot. I feel very grateful. In this third one, I really enjoyed watching the role of the hero who will reconcile the impossible. It showed up as reconciling duality.
Mm.
Good job. She put spirituality on one side and science on the other. She's like, I'll fix this. And I really enjoyed tying this into this, this sweet child who just has so much faith in, humanity, that it's possible.
Mm. Thank you. Maybe it's possible, who knows?
Well, it morphed into a humility, a seashell, a reality beyond what I could possibly conceive. And then there's nothing to understand or to fix, just to have offer grace and love. It was a beautiful process. Thank you.
Thank you. Really can resonate with that. Yeah. Okay. So let's say a few last things about the content and a couple more things. First, thank you for being here today and to going through the processes. I know it was not easy for many of you a lot of the time. We're just coming here to work on this specific aspect of our life is not easy. Yeah. So I appreciate your courage in coming here and taking part and sharing or not sharing as you so fit. Also takes courage not to share when you don't want to. Um, I hope that these three processes were useful to you, all, some, at least one, even partially. Remember to take from it what is right for you and what supports you. If there are things that you would like to share with me in private, you're welcome to do so. And you will receive an email from me with the reminders about the workshop, so you have my email by now. Um, yeah. And thank you, Adam, for helping organize this, and for both you and Kirsten for helping hold this space. Um, if you happen to be in the Sedona area and very spontaneous, you're welcome to join a workshop here tomorrow and the day after. And if you're a little less spontaneous and wanting to go deeper into your shadow work as a facilitator or therapist or a teacher, and the training in Boulder that Adam is organizing and Kirsten is a part of the assisting team, and we still have places there, and you're most welcome yourselves, or if you know people, colleagues, who you feel would benefit from it, please let them know. I hope that you're taking from our work today and whatever is right for you today, and that the rest can come at its own time. If there are any questions or last sharings, please, now we have a few more minutes for that. Mm. I see in the chat. heartfelt gratitude to and for who you are, who you be, and all that you are doing for humanity, and that includes my family and me. Have an amazing journey in and through the States and onwards. I will. And we'll be there with you in the spirit. Love and so on. Thanks, Collie. Thank you for the time. Thank you so much. This was profound. Okay, I'll stop reading this. Thank you, everybody. Yes, Wendy, please. You can just unmute yourself.
Sorry, my computer is not working properly, so I have to use my phone and my computer. I just wanted to say thank you so much. This was very powerful. I feel so grateful to be in this group and be able to do these processes. And I could definitely feel a shift through each one. So just so much gratitude and so happy that I get to see you tomorrow. So thank you.
Thank you. I'll see you tomorrow. Very glad as well. Adam, would you like to add anything before we finish?
Thank you so much, Neil. For those that are interested in the Boulder training, again, that's May 29th to June 2nd. And the link is in the chat, but I'll drop that back in here again. We do still have some spots available. More information is on the webpage, and would be happy to have any of you there if you can make it to Boulder.
Thank you. You're all welcome to stay in touch. And I wish us all a good balance between personal self and collective tribal self and so take care, everybody. We are in challenging times, but we have things to do for ourselves and for the world. Thank you very much. I hope to see you this way or another in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Will we have access to the recording as
Yes,
well?
you will. Yes, you will receive it.
Yay. Thank you.
Yay. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Nir. That was
Thank
great
you.
birthday.
I'm really glad.
Thank you.
Thank you very
I
much.
get back to you maybe in private. See you. Bye.
Be glad to. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Don't want to be.